So here's something that it comes a bit so and so for me to record and publish. But for some reason I failed to do it. So the state that our world is in right now is kind of devastating. Everything is collapsing, and we kind of don't know where this might be headed, but we kind of know at the same time, because if things continue in the same way, Earth as we see it right now and as we know it right now and as society is going right now doesn't seem to have much more longer, and Earth might have much more longer, but humanity in the way it is right now doesn't seem to have much more longer to be able to sustain life on Earth the way humanity has been doing it so far. So it seems like a decline that has already started for years now, but now finally we are, like, humanity starting to see the signs, like the true actual evidences of this. And there is a question: what's the truth of what's happening first, and what is the true actions and the true things that we can do, and is there anything that we can do, and is there anything that has to be done? And from what I'm seeing, yes, there are things to be done. There are actually such an important thing that has to be done right now. And before going into what can be done, I need to say that this world that we are living in, of course, many of us have started to understand that it's like a dream. It's like a construct, an artificial construct that is created from the power of our soul and our mind combined. And so this dream is reactive to our mind. It is reactive to basically the state of our overall consciousness, to the state of maturity our consciousness is in. So the way we see reality right now is just a manifestation of humanity's overall state of consciousness. And we are lively experiencing in a material way and concrete way a portion of our own state of consciousness. So we are experiencing basically our own consciousness, but in a physical, material way. Now, this material reality that we are seeing and walking on and tasting, touching, seeing, hearing, this is like a computer program that is running, and we are inside the live immersive software. And instead of looking at a screen, everything is the screen. We are inside the screen. Everything is this screen that we are in. We are inside the software, the game. Now, exactly as a computer program, the software is created by some, first of all, hardware. There are some pieces of hardware that are working together to create this software, this experience of the software. And then there are some codes within the software themselves that are working permanently, some base codes that are working to create this software. So the reality that we are seeing with our eyes, touching, tasting, feeling, perceiving, it is created from some forces, from some intelligences that are creating this reality for us. So even though this reality is mirroring our state of consciousness, what creates it, it's some dedicated forces that are dedicated to create and to mirror our state of consciousness and to make it material. And so, these forces are always keen, always present, always attentive, always aware of our state of consciousness. And as our state of consciousness changes, these forces are immediately here to change the material world for us in order to reflect our new state of consciousness. So, there is nothing that these forces cannot do. They can create everything. They can manifest any type of reality as long as we are changing our own state of consciousness. Everything is possible. Everything is already available. All the technology, everything is already available to change the entire earth. Right now, as we speak, even in the physical plane, there is the technology already discovered and implemented and just waiting. There are forces in the physical plane that are just waiting to put this technology to use. But what they are waiting for are the signs that the overall consciousness of humanity has started to change, to match with the possibility of these new technologies to start being implemented. So there is already the physical technology available. The public is not made aware of, but this technology is already available physically in the material plane. And as we, some of us, the beings that have the power to change their state of consciousness, to mature it, to invite more of spirit, more awareness. These beings that have the capacity, that have the power of will and awareness to shift their awareness from this unnatural reality. They are the ones that are changing the consciousness of the entire humanity from within itself. So they are the ones that by changing their own consciousness, they are affecting the overall consciousness of humanity. And contrary to what we might think, changing the overall consciousness of humanity is fairly easy. It is quite fairly easy. It is not actually so many beings that can actually have so much power of the consciousness, the collective consciousness of humanity. There are only some beings. But if these beings awaken, and if they are able to remember their job and start doing the work, putting in the effort, taking responsibility, then these beings, by changing their own consciousness, these beings are affecting the consciousness of the entire collective of humanity. So it's not an easy process for them. Actually, it's quite hard. It's the hardest thing one can even imagine, what they must face and what they are up to, what they have to be up for. But if they take on the challenge and if they take on the responsibility and they start doing what they have to do and they start remembering, then they are the ones that can actually change the overall consciousness of an entire humanity. And then, with a changed collective consciousness, the forces that I've described, they are more than waiting and willing. These forces are more than waiting and willing to implement the new technologies. There is new technology available. There is new technology available, what we would consider in our normal human terms, clean technology, healthy technology, living technology. There is already available on the material plane right now. But it depends. See, it depends on the overall consciousness of humanity. These forces are waiting to implement this technology, but they will be unable to use it until the overall consciousness of humanity changes to match this new technology. So it is up to the beings right now. It is up to this limited number of beings that are already marked in a certain way, and they kind of know themselves. They have to know themselves, they have to recognize themselves, and they have to start doing the work, and they have to take it seriously. And this is a call in a way. I think that all my videos that and recordings that I've done this year in 2023 were a sort of call to these beings. So it's time to take on the work, because there is every support that we can imagine. It's already there, but the consciousness of humanity has to match with that support in order for that support to become real and manifested for us. And I have to say before I end this recording that the same way in which the true and healthy and clean technology is already available in the manifested real, and it's only awaiting for the consciousness of humanity to see the sign that it's starting to change, to start being implemented, this healthy technology. Similar, I think there might be the unhealthy technology available as well. And if humanity might not make the move, these beings might not awaken in time, because there is also a span of time, by the way. If these beings might not awaken in the proper time, the unhealthy technology, the dark technology, let's say, what would do it is that it would try to take even more control over the earth. It will try to use the current climate disasters to control even more the population, to inflict even more darker technologies that will inflict control, and that will make humanity even more and more enslaved to some systems, to some unclean type of energy, to some dark technology. These are the possibilities. I'm far from seeing an end of humanity or anything, but I'm seeing that there are two main options. Either there is an option for us as humanity to step into the true humanity, to become the true selves, to step into the true reality and to come back to life. And this is made by these beings starting to work, and by their internal work and their individual work, they are able to change the entire consciousness of humanity, and so humanity finally is being able to be given this access to this healthy and, let's call it quote-unquote, light technology. This healthy technology, this clean technology, this living technology, which is having true life in it. And it's already available here on the physical plane, as I said. But if these beings are continuing to drag on their responsibility and not to remember themselves and fail to remember themselves and drag this thing on and on, there might just be that the dark technology needs to intervene more and more. Because actually what I'm actually seeing is that there will only be true life at the end of all this process. The dark technology, everything will disappear. There will only be true life, but we can get to that true life in a painful way, going through even more darkness, even more control, even more pain, even more ignorance, or we can do it the light way, we can do it the true way. But this true way needs effort. This is the path of the light is always the path of effort. It's the path of light is the path of conscious effort. It's always like this. And the path of darkness is the path of always abandonment and renunciation, and the path of death, and the path of total dissolution. This is the path of darkness, is where you abandon anything, any scope, any goal, and this is how you find the truth. But the path of light is the path of knowing the goal, knowing the purpose, and consciously working towards it. These are two different paths, but they lead to the same thing. They lead to truth. And we will, from what I'm seeing, I'm seeing us 100% going to truth. But we can get to that truth through pain, through darkness, through suffering, through increasing even more the pain, even more the fear, the terror, the control, until we realize the freaking truth as a spontaneous realization out of all that misery. Or we can get to it through the path of conscious act and conscious effort and conscious work. This is the path of light. The path of light already knows the goal, already knows true life, already knows that this is darkness, this is unnatural, this is not life, and it has the goal and it works towards it consciously and puts in the effort. This is the path of light. You build yourself, you birth yourself with your own hands, you create yourself with your own hands. You don't wait for the environment to push you into doing an action and to push you to learn through pain. You are doing the conscious actions through your own choice and through your own will and through your own... You add your own work in a conscious way. So these are the two paths. I'm seeing that eventually we will, humanity is getting to truth, but how it will get to that truth, it is a choice. And there are these beings on the earth right now that they have the possibility to do this conscious work, so we can get to that truth through the path of light, through the path of healthiness, and we can all be able to experience an earth we have never been able to experience. It will probably be, if we are able to change the consciousness of humanity to match this clean and healthy technology, it will be something unimaginable, something that the earth has never seen, not even in the so-called heaven. So do we want to get to truth through this, by experiencing this true humanity, this true version of earth, this unbounded freedom, to see life in its most magnificent form? Or are we getting to truth by seeing even more death, even more control, even more terror, even more destruction of life? This is the choice that it is being done right now. So there are these beings, and for whomever feels the call, for whomever hears this and feels the call and feels called to start doing this, it is time. This is the time. This is the time to start doing this consciously, and there are others, and you need to know you're far from being alone. One of the things that kept us from doing this work, it was the uncertainty that what if this is not so? What if this is incorrect? What if I'm insane? What if I'm mistaken? And it was also is isolation. We felt extremely isolated from one another. We didn't know that this is true. We kind of felt it within perhaps, but we didn't had the confirmation from others. We felt isolated, but this is a confirmation. This is true. This work is true. This network of beings, they are real. So we all went through a lot of ordeal. We all went through a lot of terror, extreme isolation, extreme, almost on the verge of thinking we're insane. Extreme isolation, extreme pain. We all went through this. So it's natural to feel like questioning if this is true. But if you, or whomever listens to this, feels something when it hears about this, then you might be able to take on this work and to do this for the entire humanity and for Earth, for this story, for everything. And anybody, to a certain degree, in my opinion, can do this process. Anybody can step up and join the team. Because anybody has the chance in this life right now to awaken their true will and to awaken their true awareness. Because if you feel inspired, if something feels inspiring to you when you hear this, if you want to join the team, then here it is. It's like, start doing the work, and the work will speak for yourself. You will speak through your actions. It is only always that our actions speak. So if you feel any type of inspiration, if you feel stirred and called from within when you hear this, It's free, it's available. It is waiting for you. Whomever and wherever you are, it is always present, the work, and you can start doing it. And there are others. You're far from being alone. There are others who are going through the same ordeal. Isolation, doubt. And we need to come more and more together, by the way. This is another thing. We need to start speaking more about this and start coming together more and more. And most importantly, we have to pick up the work, and we have to take a responsibility and take it seriously and start doing it in our individual lives. This is what we have to do if we feel the fire burning within us of this intent, the fire of this intent. If it burns within us and if we feel it within us, then it's time to do it. It's time to take this seriously. Because this is the tipping point in a way. Humanity has reached such a sensible point, and it's so easy from this point onwards, as we are looking in society right now with the terrible natural disasters. It's so easy to go into chaos and insanity overall. Imagine what that would be. From that point, it would be so easy for the dark technology to step in and say, oh, we are saving you from your chaos. Let us implement this dark tech. This, and this. And you will become even more enslaved, but we will protect you. It will be so easy if humanity steps into that place of chaos and into that place of desperation. It would be so easy for them. Immediately the dark technology can be offered as a solution. This is why we are reaching, and we have kind of reached that tipping point. And these beings right now, the ones that feel called to step up and start working consciously to tip the balance in the other direction, to change the consciousness change their own consciousness, work with their fears, neutralize their fears. You will know how to do it, and I might make another recording to actually talk about this if it's necessary, of what we can do, what the work implies. But most of all, it implies detaching our awareness, as I said, from this false version of reality, which means everything from this reality, including the fear. Whenever we are tempted to act out of fear, we need to find another place within us which is more real than the fear. And we need to act out of that place. So, to conclude on this, humanity is reaching right now this tipping point. And this is the time that I'm seeing that these beings have to really, really, really wake up and do the work, and we are here together. That's the thing, we are here together, and this can be done. Whatever our minds have thought about this reality, and have been indoctrinated to think that, oh, we can't change anything. Reality is just mundane, it's just normal, it's just material plane with the physical laws, and it goes the way it goes. It's false. Reality is a magical act. Reality is truly an act of magic. Whatever we are looking at right now is just an act of magic. And whenever these beings are starting to change their own consciousness and starting to change the consciousness of humanity, there are forces here that are immediately able and immediately ready to implement a new reality, which for our minds right now might even think that cannot be possible. That would be a miracle. But this is the time of miracles. When reality reaches such a tipping point, in which this is the time of the most amount of contrast, the most amount of terror, but also the possibility for the highest miracles. Literally. This is when the true miracles can start to flood in and start changing the entire reality. But again, emphasis on these beings, emphasis on this work, emphasis on this true love, which is at the heart of this work. It's just true love. Emphasis on trusting the true love within yourself. If you feel it, know that it is real, and it is calling you to start awakening and to serve it. So, here it is. This was the call from my side. Making it real from my side. It is the love within yourself which knocks at your door. If you feel the call, then you can choose to respond to it. And you need to start serving the love. Become a servant of love. Start doing the work. Because this is the tipping point. We have reached the tipping point. And it's up to us now how the story continues.